Hello, everybody. Welcome back, or welcome to the first time for Is God the A-hole? And here's where you get to have your say and your vote as to who is the bad guy in these situations. Just first off, happy Trans Day of Visibility. I believe it is in the US. It's good to acknowledge those people who are really having a rough time of it in the current political crisis and recognize that they are accepted and valued members of society, always have been, always will be. There's, as I like to point out, there's no us and them. They're part of us. They are part of the community, and I do want to reach out and sort of just give a nod to all of the trans people out there, all of the fine friends that are hanging around. But hey, even if you're not trans, you're very welcome. Big shout out to you. Thank you for joining me. And today we are doing Is God the A-hole? Yep, you are first. Yes, you are first, and welcome, Ilosopher Aying. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. My apologies. Ilosopher. Welcome. So if you haven't been here before and you're wondering what we're doing, we're actually doing a lot of channels do sort of am I the arsehole on Reddit, and they sort of go through situations. Stop the Stupidity, who is a member and a great supporter of the channel, fantastic guy, said, well, couldn't you do that for the Bible? Like, look at the Bible in the lens of today's morality if somebody posted it on Reddit. And I thought that was a great idea. So what we're going to do is go through the Bible. We're up to Genesis 23. So I know all of you atheists and heretics have a Bible ready to hand, ready to go at all times in your breast pocket or your hip pocket, or where you like to keep your holy book, because that's what we all do. I think that you can whip it out and see if I'm actually misrepresenting the stories or not, because I will actually make the argument that I'm not misrepresenting these stories at all. And you know, it's very interesting when put in that context that, hey, if God did these things in today's world, he would be a monster. That seems to be the general consensus. But as always, I want to know what you think. I will run a poll at the end of it to see whether a majority of people think that or not. I usually do my favorite comment, but I must admit I haven't really had one that's jumped out at me. I'll see if there is one that sort of has jumped out at me. And see if there's, and usually I find one that's you know, just criticizing me. Let's see. Yeah, that one's fine. Hold it, I'll grab this one. So just as an aside, I've just been from Embers. Do go over to Embers and give her a like, and do subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I know a ton of my audience is, but yeah, please do, because she is amazing. Now, I just want to show this comment. Yeah. So this will be a favorite comment. Oh, sorry. My favorite comment from 5 hours ago. Yeah. Hold it. We can fix this. So this is from Look Out for Number One. Wow, what a way to overcomplicate a description of morality at minute 31, and I am already bored. Mark, you are capable of drowning in a glass of water. There is no such thing as moral objectives as a standalone thing. Well, thank you for your feedback. If, like, I get that a lot of people find philosophical debates very, very boring. I get it. Like, that's not everybody's thing. Totally understand. Especially morality, which is very complicated. Okay, I don't know why you continue to watch. It's auto-corrupt, absolutely. Hey, Jinx, so good to see you. And merry Trans Day of Visibility to you too. Good to see you. Yeah, no, I'm sorry I bored you shitless. Like, seriously, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I I'll try to like when you're talking about morality. How do you make that a lot more interesting? I'll do some trolley problems or something, mate. I'm not sure what I can do about that. I find morality fascinating. I'm sorry it's not your thing. I will endeavor to not drown in a glass of water. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what that means. How do I drown in a glass of water? Uh, I feel like that would be. You know what? I wonder if anyone's choked on water, right? Like, I wonder if anyone has actually drowned in a glass of water. Has anyone ever drowned in a glass of water? Um, I mean, it's possible. Um, Reports indicate that as little as a half cup or even 1 teaspoon, if inhaled directly into the airway and lungs, can cause a person to drown, particularly if it triggers a severe spasm of the voice box. Uh, this is called dry or secondary drowning, when a small amount of liquid. Look, I used to do when I was younger. I used to do surf lifesaving. Um, I honestly have inhaled a fair bit of water. So, no, I don't think I could drown in a glass of water. Although it would be a good effort, I did. Anyway, like I said, open your Bibles because we are up to Genesis 23. Oh, baby, oh, baby. Oh, baby, oh, baby. Yeah, Genesis 23. What have we got? Now, if you missed the last episode or didn't pay attention, the last episode was, yeah, that was Isaac being born, and basically Hagar, and poor Hagar copped it, being sent away because her son with Abraham, so Abraham's first son, Ishmael, was being apparently he said some mean stuff to Isaac, his second son, with Sarah. And Sarah is, yeah. Okay, so first off, we have I am Yahweh. Am I the arsehole for not helping my best friend buy a burial plot for his recently passed wife? You don't consider being super amazing at chess? Look, I've used to play chess. I haven't played chess for ages. No, definitely not. That does not equal. Look, intelligence and a friend of mine, Christopher Mowdy, he's a psychologist. He mostly deals with olfactory psychology, like psychology that is caused by smells. But he has been doing a lot on intelligence and sort of what makes up intelligence, and it's very nebulous and it's very poorly defined what intelligence actually is. It seems to be an ability to learn novel concepts, but it's not exactly, like, it can be very, very hard to pin down what it actually is. And people talk about different types, emotional intelligence. We're really talking about the old, what they used to define as IQ, the intelligence quotient, which he postulates, and I do agree with him, a lot of it is culturally related, like depends on how much you were brought up with that sort of, like the way that they do intelligence tests. I'm not talking about the shitty online ones, I'm talking about the actual intelligence tests that they do for organizations like Mensa and sort of things like that. They're mostly arranged around comprehension, shapes, and sort of your ability to, like, figure out shapes and puzzles. So if you're brought up in an environment that is sort of into that kind of stuff, you will do better. So a lot of it is definitely cultural. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's true, Jinx. It was programmed onto EPROMs, yes. That's erasable, programmable, read-only memories. It's not AI, but it is now. They have, like, I think that they've recently got to the point where AI can beat human reliably at chess. The more impressive one is that AI beat the champion Go player And if you're unfamiliar, Go is I think it's Chinese in origin. It's sort of a bit like checkers, but not exactly the same. I think they call it Othello in the West. But it is a lot more complicated than chess. There's a lot more iterations kind of thing. Yeah, it's okay, mate. We're all having trouble with chat these days. It's all good. So, am I the arsehole for not helping my best friend buy a burial plot for his recently passed wife? Maybe, yeah, I think maybe. So I, male, infinity years old, had a friend, Abraham, male 135, whose wife died at an old age in the land of Canaan. Abraham mourned Sarah, female 127, deeply as she was his sister as well as his wife. And although I feel for the guy, people have been very critical of me. Yeah, Sarah had the same father as Abraham. We've been through that a few times in previous episodes, but yeah, keeping it in the family in the Old Testament. Old Testament, family values. You got to marry your sister, apparently. Well, I don't think it's that bad, mate, but yeah, it does a little bit. Yeah, I get what you mean. I've not really gotten into Go. I was really into chess at one point. I remember in university, actually, like, there was this guy that kept challenging me to chess kind of thing, and I was like, I'm kind of whatever. And he kept challenging me, saying he was like a champion chess player, and you know, played him, like, he eventually pinned me down, like, at the end of the year and said, look, just one game. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I absolutely wrecked him. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm good at chess or not anymore. I have no idea. It's not that important to me. Like, a lot of people, we had someone in the chat actually sort of go, oh, I'm a champion chess player. You should listen to what I say because I've got high Q and champion chess. It's irrelevant. Being good at chess does not make you right or wrong. That's what really blows me away. People that are like, oh, but I'm a master chess player, so somehow my opinion is worth more? I don't understand that. It's called a non sequitur. It's got nothing to do whether your argument is right or wrong. It kind of reminds me of those people that they get into arguments and then they go, oh, well, I could wreck you in a fight. And it's like, what's that got to do with whether you're right or wrong? Maybe you could. It still doesn't make you right. It's very strange to me. Anyway, yes, so Abraham's sister and wife, who were the same person, but she died, which is sad. Rip Sarah. Abraham needed a place to bury her. The land he was living in was the very land I had promised to give his descendants, yet at that moment he didn't own any of it, even a small area for a burial plot. Yeah, Abraham did not come from Canaan. He actually came from a northern area above Canaan. So he wasn't from that area. He's actually in a foreign land. Not sure what he's doing there. Presumably he's still running the sister-wife scam, where he basically tells a local ruler that he lends out his wife to them, telling them that it's his sister, which is technically true, and then God makes them give him money and camels and servants and other stuff, like just all the goods. It's the old sister-wife scam, where but now he can't run the sister-wife scam because Sarah passed away, unfortunately. So he approached the local Hittite community and asked for a small piece of land, specifically a burial cave, which is quite lavish in those days. Like, you know, you were generally just buried in a grave or cremated or something. Like, you weren't, like, having a burial tomb is a significant thing. They responded respectfully, and they acknowledged him as a significant figure among them and offered him the option to buy Sarah buy Sarah the choicest of their tombs. On the surface, that sounds generous, but Abraham didn't think that any old tomb was good enough. He wanted a permanent burial place that was recognized at his legal possession. Yes, Stranglewood, there's a sister-wife scam. So it's from a few passages ago, and Abraham pulled this one at least twice. He basically went to a land and told his wife, Sarah, or Sarai, depending on what part, because she's called different things. He says, don't tell them you're my wife. Tell them you're my sister. which is technically true because she did have the same father. So that's technically true, but he says, don't tell them your wife. So when the king said, oh, she's beautiful, I'm going to take her into my household, then God would get all mad and say, hey, that's somebody else's wife you've got. And the king would go, wait, I didn't know. He said it was his sister. And give all of this money over to Abraham because in compensation for taking his wife, which he said it was his sister. So that's the old sister-wife scam. It's the oldest scam in the book. I mean, literally, it is the oldest scam in the book. It is the oldest scam in the Old Testament. It's the oldest scam in the Old Testament. The oldest scam in the Old Testament. He specifically asked for the Cave of Machpelah, owned by a man named Ephron. Wasn't that like a company or something, Ephron? Didn't that go bust in something? You need a sister wife stat? I would not recommend. Would not recommend. I need a sister wife stat. Well, it's best. It's only possible if you start with a sister. Well, actually, that's not true. Because Sarah was his half sister. So some way you need a sister. Would not recommend. Especially since they had a son, probably hideously inbred. You know, like you do. Ephron, the negotiation played out publicly. Ephron initially offered the field and cave as a gift, but Abraham was not having it. He wanted to pay for the land and cave so everyone would know that he owned it. So Ephron told him it was worth 400 shekels of silver. Abraham weighed out the silver in full in front of witnesses and completed the transaction properly. Yes, he paid for the thing. And the first guy is just like, hey, have it. But he's like, no, I need this to be a financial transaction, which is fair enough. You've got to have... You've got to do it the right way if you are actually getting a resting place for your sister wife. Absolutely. So after all of this had taken place, I got a lot of complaints. I had promised this lamb to Abraham, yet when he needed even a small part of it to bury his wife, I didn't intervene or grant it directly. I didn't reduce the cost or shift the situation in his favour. He paid full price for something that, in the long term, was already his by promise. Yes, God had already promised the land, but didn't help him when his wife needed a cave. But whether his sister and wife needed a cave is another story altogether. From my perspective, the promise operates on a timeline larger than one's lifeline. Abraham's role wasn't to possess everything immediately, and his descendants had to live through hard times in order to gain the land. I could have just given him a small advance on my promise of land to bury his sister and wife, but I didn't. Still, I can see how it looks. Abraham mourned, negotiated, and paid in full, all while holding on to a promise that didn't visibly materialize in that moment. I didn't step in to ease the process or reduce the burden. Am I the asshole for not helping out Abraham? And that is the question. I kind of think so, yeah. If I had a friend that I loved, as presumably Yahweh loved Abraham, I would definitely organize something so he would be happy at where his wife resided. But, I mean, I'd love to know your opinion. I will get the poll up and running. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just a slight bit unorganized here. I need to get back into it. And I can do the poll for you. 1 sec. Yeah. Look, if you do have a sister wife, look, I don't think that's I think that's against the law. I think that it's a problem because you are starting a relationship with somebody that you already have emotional ties to, right? Like, so even if it's gay guys, we know that if you engage with your familial people you have familial bonds with, it will generally be a bad issue. Like you will have issues in that and have problems with that. Was Yahweh right for not helping Abraham get a tomb for his dead sister and wife, who was also the same person. And I will get this. So, love to know what you think. I think a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's not the worst thing that Yahweh's done in this book. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's done way worse. Like, the whole Sodom and Gomorrah thing was pretty bad. But, you know, I think that it still is a bit insensitive to his best friend for basically going, yeah, you can buy. You can buy. And I want to know, because he paid in silver for it, but he got a lot of silver for you know, sort of lending out, let's say lending out, or using his sister wife as sort of a consensus. Oh, there's the poll. Okay, so the poll is up. Do feel free to vote. I'm going to go through the comments, see what we've got here. Yes, God the asshole, done. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yes, it is pretty bad. But there's a lot I didn't, before I started doing this, there's a lot of things I didn't realize that were in the Old Testament. A lot of really, really weird and horrible stuff. Because when you go through it passage by passage, and especially when you're looking for the problematic things in it, there's a lot that you never hear about from pastors, from preachers, from religious people. They will never mention that. I don't think it's ever been mentioned to me that Abraham and Sarah were brother and sister, or half brother and sister, if you want to be more accurate. They never tell you that. They never tell you that. You know, sort of. All the men showed up in Sodom when they sort of, you know, the angels were there and were under threat. All the men showed up, but it doesn't say anything about women or children or other things, and the entire city's destroyed. Like, it's so strange that you're never told this. But, you know, of course, they put it in the best light. If he was real as described, huge arsehole. Well, you know what? So somebody doesn't have to be real to be an arsehole. We can still make evaluations of a character's actions as being good or bad, even though those actions never took place. Like, it does not need to have happened. I can say, hey, you know, Lex Luthor, complete arsehole. Like, I can, even though that person does not exist. Right? We don't need to actually have a person exist in order to make moral pronouncements about their actions. You know, you can sort of look at any villain, really. Who's a great villain? The Joker, right? Like, incredible asshole. It doesn't need to exist in reality for us to go, oh, as a hypothetical, is this fictional character an asshole or not? And I believe, I can't remember who said it. It may have been Christopher Hitchens that sort of said, Yahweh is one of the most evil characters in all of fiction. Like, one of the most reprehensible evil characters that has ever been written. And as we're going through the Old Testament and putting it in the light of, well, if this was an ordinary person submitting this to Reddit, yeah, you would want someone to put that person away. Like, really. I mean, this one isn't that bad. He's just, you know, lightly an asshole, kind of not helping his best friend out. But, you know, if you know, it sort of is, some of the things he has done, like, is you know, it's auto corrupt. Absolutely. Look, AI, so there's now sort of saying, oh, the AI bubble is collapsing. It doesn't have the potential that we thought it would. So, I think that it does have the potential. I think that people, or really business, just thought it was capable of more than it was sooner, right? Like that we're right around the verge of having a AI that could do anything. No, that's not where we are. I think that it needs a lot of work and stuff like that. Yeah. I get it. You were talking about its integration with AI. Yeah, so there's a problem here that is that even if AI existed as so you're talking about artificial general intelligence. So at the moment we have sort of learning machines and neural networks that will do certain things, but an artificial general intelligence is sort of saying, hey, it can think like a human does and learn like a human does, basically. Artificial general intelligence, I think, is a long way off, and as Turing pointed out, and this is Alan Turing from back in the day, like just after World War II, when he basically created the modern computer. He is the inventor of the modern computer. He sort of said, well, just because it thinks differently than a human, it doesn't mean it's not thinking. So Turing was the one to first point out that sort of the way that a computer thinks may be a valid form of thinking. Now, yeah, it means that intelligence becomes even more nebulous, because a computer will, if you throw sort of logic problems at it, well, it's going to get them 100% right all the time. But, can it be creative with its solutions and sort of think outside the box, which is usually what they also test for in intelligence? Your ability to conceptualize outside the parameters of what you've been given, or within the parameters but outside the standard parameters, if you get what I mean. Some sort of an out-of-the-box solutions, which it's not that great at. It really is not good at. That's how AI is good for, making more dumbass videos for lies. Yeah, and I have a problem with that. I think everyone's got a problem with that. I saw that the IDF had released a picture of a journalist that was killed and sort of replaced their press thing with a uniform. Really obnoxious stuff, like during wartime using AI for propaganda. Ugh, just awful. Yeah, no, I'm right with you. Yeah, chess was programmed onto EPROMs, but it couldn't beat the best players. That's really what we're talking about. That AI was capable of playing a game of chess, but it wasn't capable of beating the masters, kind of thing. Where have you been? I don't know. Where have you been? My audience is tiny. I'm not sure why. That's okay. I'm still going to do my stream. It's still going to be a fun time for me. It was Dawkins that said that, was it? I don't know. Sure, may have been. Sure. I mean, he said a lot of stuff. Sure. The one problem I've got with Dawkins at the moment is sort of this gallop towards saying that you're culturally Christian, and that's my issue with him at the moment, because I think that Christianity has had a huge influence on the Western culture. Like, how could it not? It basically was at one point in Europe the only acceptable religion and the only acceptable ideology to have. Like, how could it not? But saying that, the culture belongs to Christianity because it had a huge impact on it, I think that's really, really limiting and incorrect. I think a lot of things have an impact on culture, and Christianity being a large impact doesn't give it some sort of ownership rights to, well, now our culture is Christian. Because there are a lot of things that came out of, say, the Enlightenment or liberalism, right? Freedom of religion, universal suffrage, life, liberty, and property, that kind of thing, that definitely didn't come from Christianity. Right? Like, it definitely didn't come from that. You'll never convince me that humans learn. Okay. Look, I am not the authority on humans. Let me tell you right now. Not to be contrarian, but I couldn't get one that sly. Yeah, no, I gotcha. Yeah. Yep. We do keep repeating the same mistakes. Yes, absolutely. I get you. An individual may learn, but it seems that, a group of humans just keep doing the same dumb shit over and over. I'm totally with you. It's funny. Who was it? I think it was Terry Pratchett that used to say the IQ of a mob is the average IQ of the mob divided by the number of people in the mob. And I've always loved that sentiment. The more humans you get together, the stupider they behave. So I'm kind of lucky that my stream is small, because it means that we are high IQ. Absolutely. If that is true, that the more humans we get around us, the stupider we act, then we are vastly intelligent. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I'll see how my poll goes. No arsehole here. Yeah, I kind of think so. This one's really borderline, considering everything that has happened. Like, I do think it's borderline. I kind of would lean towards, well, if Abraham's your best friend, you could help him. Like, I don't know. From my point of view, if my best friend had just lost his wife, I would be right there for him. Maybe it's me, right? But you know, imagine like that is catastrophic to your best friend. My best friend isn't married, but you know, if he was and he lost his wife, especially his wife that was also his sister, I would be there for him. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think that's true, Lil. But hello, Lil. So good to see you. Glad you've come in and for the stream. But yeah, I think about how I would treat people and how a god treats people. He must have known that Abraham was really hurting, right? Like, really hurting. And he must have known that he really wanted a place on the land to bury his wife and sister, but didn't do anything. I think that's, you know, the least that an omnipotent being could do is, you know, well, A, attend the funeral. I'm not sure if he did. Maybe he did. He's omnipresent, right? He's everywhere at all times. Maybe he did. Or, you know, and maybe get the guy just a little bit of the land you promised him so he can bury his wife. Maybe. Hooray. Hurry. Thanks, Lil. It's always a pleasure to see you. And yeah, I got to talk with you and Seth to get you on and have a conversation, have a talk, explain to me some stuff, because I don't know. Who's a genius here? Because I'm barely functioning above it. Oh, come on, Jinx. You are twice as smart as I am. Let's face it. Then again, almost everybody is. Let's face it. Let's be real here. Let's be real. Come on, chat. Come on, chat. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I gotcha, Lil. All good. All good. So we will be moving on to... Did I close the poll? I did close the poll. Oh, I think I didn't let Lil vote. I'm sorry, Lil. It was just a you know, a gut reaction. Yeah. I do. Do I have you on Discord? Is that a thing that I can do? Can I have you on Discord? Do I have you on Discord? I usually do stuff by Discord. It's just... So Discord, lots of people hate it. I have used it for ages. It originally was a World of Warcraft communications platform. So back in the day when I used to play stuff like that, I used Discord. So it's kind of just, you know, automatic reaction these days. I'm not sure if I've got you. Yep. Oh, I do. Yeah. Message me so I can friend you and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Okay, so we're going to go towards Genesis 24. So grab those Bibles you always have on your heart and flip the pages to 24. Which it gets real, people. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna get really real. Really real. So this turns into an absolute crap show. Which I didn't know about either. So, I am Yahweh again. So, did I make a big mistake by choosing a relative to marry my best friend's son? Your relative or his relative? I realized that I didn't make that clear. Possibly. It doesn't scream arsehole to begin with, but let's find out. So my best friend, Abraham, male, 135, was getting old. Well, yeah, at 135, you would think so. And his son, Isaac, male, 37, still didn't have a wife. And look, I checked this. Isaac was apparently 37. That's what the, sort of scholarly consensus says he was about that age. Look, with ages, usually when I look them up of how old somebody is in a certain verse, it'll have a sort of, a bracket like, 35 to 40 or something. And you go, well, we didn't, they weren't exactly writing it down at that point, so we didn't know. Still didn't have a wife. This was a problem because I had promised his descendants would be numerous. Well, he's got another son. He does have Ishmael, who he used a slave as a surrogate. Yeah, Abraham, not the best guy. Not the best guy, I'll tell you that right now. He actually knocked up a slave in order to have a son, which was Ishmael. Yeah, great guy. Great guy. But it was Sarah's idea. So rip Sarah, was her idea. At least she's not going to be a dick to his other son now. Abraham didn't want Isaac marrying someone from the local Canaanite population, which feels kind of racist to me. Does that feel kind of racist to anybody else? Like, oh no, you're not marrying a Canaanite. Oh no, we can't have that. So where was he from? I did look this up, but I did forget. Was Abraham from? It was like from Q or something. The Ur of the Chaldees, Ur Kasdim, a Sumerian. So he was originally from Samaria. So Abraham wasn't Canaanite. He was originally from Samaria and just moved to Canaan, which is interesting. So he sent his servant back to his extended family's homelands to find a wife instead. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? Yes, I'm not going to marry any of the locals. Go back to where I came from and find me a wife from the people there. Yeah, kind of like these people aren't good enough for me. I don't know why he's living among them then. I mean, we know he had contact with the Hittites as well, because he talked to the Hittite tribesperson, and apparently he will take a burial plot from the Hittites, but not a wife for his son. I feel like that's a lot of disrespect. But hey, it's Abraham. The servant travelled a long distance, and when he reached the destination, he asked me for guidance. Specifically, he made a request for a sign. The right woman would not only give him water when he asked, but would also offer to water his camels. Well, I mean, if I said, God, show me the right woman, and the right woman will be the one that not only, like when I ask her for water, she will say, I will also water your camels. Couldn't that just be coincidence? I mean, if you've got a bunch of camels with you, wouldn't that be just manners kind of thing? Like if you said, can I have some water? And they went, yes, and you have all these thirsty camels, wouldn't you say, well, here, let me get some camels as well? I don't know. I don't feel like it's that much of a good sign. Like maybe if you're asking the all-powerful ruler of the universe for a sign, make it something that is not general good manners, I guess. Maybe make it so, oh, I don't know, a star appears overhead, or a flashing exclamation mark to designate a quest. I don't know. Make it something a little bit more special than that. Before he even finished praying, a woman named Rebecca, female, 14. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? The age was in a bracket. As I said previously, the age is given in a bracket when I look this stuff up, right? That was the upper end of the bracket. So the estimates for the age of Rebecca, and grab something because this is insane. Apparently, the scholars around the 13th century said that Rebecca was about 14. Earlier scholars put her age anywhere down to 3. Yes, 3. I don't know how they came up with that number, but 14 was the very maximum I found of any any scholar out there. So that is the very maximum I could find. Odds on she was probably younger, which is horrendous. That's absolutely horrendous. So this is the guy, and don't forget, this is the one chosen directly by God according to the text. Yes. Yes. God marrying underage brides, apparently. Apparently this is a thing that God's doing. Oh, Lord, why? Rebecca arrived and did exactly that. When the servant asked for water, she then offered water for his camels. The servant responded quickly. He gave her jewelry and asked about her family, and then went to stay with them. I get the feeling that giving them jewelry is kind of like announcing your intention to wed them, or make an arranged marriage kind of thing. I believe that's a thing because they're very specific about bracelets. And I believe at the time that bracelets was either you were married or an intention to marry kind of thing. Ay, for a 14-year-old. Seriously. When he explained why he had come, he framed the entire situation as my guidance and that I had led him directly to the right person. Her family listened, recognized the pattern, and agreed. When the servant asked who Rebecca's family was, it turned out that her grandfather was Abraham's brother, making them first cousins once removed. Yes, they were related as well. You know what? Just for this whole sign thing, couldn't it be that the servant went, God, I got to get this over with. How do I know the right person? And the very first person said, should I bring you water for your camels? And he went, oh, that is the sign. That's the sign of the right person. They offered me water for my camels. Yes, that's it. That is the sign. Couldn't he have just made that shit up, retroactively because he wanted to get it over and done with? I don't know. It's very strange, though. It's very strange. And, so Rebecca is related to Isaac and Abraham. Probably not the servant, but Abraham and Isaac. So Abraham's brother was her grandfather, making Abraham her great uncle, and she's his great niece. Right? So she is his great niece, making Isaac and Rebecca, who are going to be married, first cousins. They're once removed, which means that they're not direct cousins, right? Because Isaac would be cousins with Rebecca's father, so it's once removed. But they're still cousins. First cousins, in fact. Her family agreed to the marriage, I don't know why. They're clearly related. And people have been really critical of this. Rebecca didn't know what she was getting into and had never met Isaac. Don't forget, Isaac stayed at home while the servant went out. So she never met Isaac, although arranged marriages were common at the time. Look, and here's the thing. The stories that I read about this, I thought that Rebecca agreed to marry Isaac, but it wasn't in the actual Bible. She didn't agree to it. Her family agreed to it, and that is much more in line with what we understand about the times. The woman wasn't asked if she wanted to marry somebody. The family was asked, and if it was acceptable to them, they would just, that was who you were married to. It was not the case. What is it? Genesis 24. I'll show you what I mean. But when I read a story about it before I actually looked up the verses, it sort of said, oh, she agreed. She didn't agree. Yeah, so just quickly, I really wish they had a dark mode so it didn't burn people's eyes out, quite frankly. But, we'll get through it. We'll get through it. I'm sorry about your eyes. So she is the daughter of Bethuel, son of Nahor. So Nahor was Abraham's brother, right? Send me on my way to my master. Let the one woman remain with us 10 days, then you might go. And here is Rebecca. Laban and Bethuel, who is the parents of Sarah, said, this is from the Lord. We can say nothing to you one way or the other. Here is Rebecca. Take her and go, and let her become the wife of your master's son. Nowhere in this does Rebecca actually get a say at all, in any way. Like, it just is omitted. So she definitely didn't get a say in whether she married him or nay. Definitely not. I think that was sort of added later, so it wasn't so, horrific. Horrific. She also probably didn't know she was related to Isaac, and considering Isaac's mother and father were half-siblings, the family tree was getting pretty inbred. Yeah, here's the horrifying thing. You've got Abraham and Sarah, who are brother and sister. They're half brother and sister. And then you're introducing to their child, who is already probably got horrendous copies of genes in this, because that's what happens when you have the reason why it's so bad is because when you have, say, brother and sister, when they create a child, instead of having two different genes to randomly get, it has too many copies of the same one. And so any problems, rather than getting a different gene, it will get the same one. And that's a problem. Like the faulty gene, for instance. Like, just say there's a problem. Well, any child may get a different gene, but they don't. And now they're introducing a first cousin into the equation as well, to Isaac, that's already inbred another one. And this is really bad. We know where this ends. We really do. And this is horrific level. I know, look, I'm not blaming the people of the time. They didn't know what happened. But this has been a common feature throughout the past, that these tribalistic sort of expressions of strength have said, well, if we've got a strong bloodline, right? Like, our bloodline has produced all of these kings and heroes and significant people. We'll make that better by, having people of our clan or our group marry each other and produce a stronger bloodline. And they didn't know, but it doesn't work like that. It actually weakens the bloodline. Like, it actually will cause horrendous problems. They didn't know that, but a god should have known that, right? A god should have known that, hey, this will not end well if they keep marrying into their own family. And the fact that God specifically selected the Rebecca means that he did it intentionally, which is weird. It's very strange. Or else it was just a guy that had no idea. Like, this is the thing. Like, a god should have known. Like, the people didn't know, but a god should have. He should have known that's terrible. When she arrived, Isaac brought her into his life and the marriage began. He loved her and it brought him comfort after his mother's death. They seemed really happy and seemed to have a lot in common, including a lot of family members and genes. Yes, absolutely. Some have suggested that I should have pointed to another person who was not directly related to Isaac, and that I should have known this would cause problems. A few have pointed out that some genetic diversity would probably be a good idea, but I really do want to preserve my chosen people, even if it causes a couple of genetic anomalies. Did I do the wrong thing by selecting a bride that was related to the groom? Edit. Yes, Sarah and Abraham were siblings, so that would make her cousins with Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac. It was a different time, okay? It certainly was a different time. And this is the problem with race realists, right? Like, it's people that think that race is a real thing, that it makes the race better, and you have to marry in your own race. This is the problem with them. It actually strengthens by rate. Like, the more genetic diversity you have within a family, the better it is, right? So in interracial marriage, people are, racial realists who let's face it, they're basically racist. They will go, oh, that's really bad, you should keep to your own, and it's this thing. No, it's actually a really good thing. I would say go for who makes you happy. You know what I mean? Like, I think you should go for whoever makes you happy and is a good person, and you have a good relationship with. But there is not just no weight to interracial marriages being bad. They're actually quite good for genetic diversity. They're actually a good thing. So that is where the people of the ancient world were completely and utterly and categorically wrong in what they thought about many things, about many things. And I mean, I guess Rebecca seemed happy. Was she? We have no idea. I guess Isaac was happy, and that was all that was important. But I'll get the poll going and see what you think. Please, give me your answer. Why you think whoever's the asshole that you think in this story, was God right for selecting Isaac's cousin to be his wife? I somehow feel like that is a terrible decision, and real arsehole decision, to be honest with you. I feel like he's really, like, it's what he wants. I feel like it's what Yahweh wants. He wants a chosen people. He doesn't want to dilute it. So he chooses someone in the family to be a part of that. That's kind of a real arsehole behavior. Real arsehole behavior. That's my opinion. Like, that is horrific. And, I really think he could have done a lot better by Abraham by saying, hey, Abraham, like, he's happy to order Abraham around whenever, right? Like, whenever he wants Abraham to invade a country or lie or, oh, no worries, Lil, no worries. It's good to see you, and I will talk to you soon. He's happy to order Abraham left, right, and center, order him to do this, order him to do that. But when it comes to selecting a bride for his wife, he's like, no, I want you to go with the cousin. I know you were married to your sister, but hey, go for the cousin for your son. Because, if we're going to inbreed, we might as well double down on it. If we're gonna get this tribe well and truly inbred, we better double down. And don't forget, he sent somebody off to get this person who was directed by God to select his son's cousin. I mean, what the hell is that all about? What the hell? And I mean, he could have just ordered him, like, Abraham, it is important your son marries, a Hittite or a Canaanite. I mean, obviously he seems to have a problem with the Canaanites, but he was more than happy to talk to the Hittites, get a burial plot from the Hittites, generally hang with the Hittites all he wants. So I don't see the problem with marrying a Hittite. Except for this idea of pure bloodlines, which we now know from science is absolutely disastrous for genetic diversity and therefore the health of people. Because these pure bloodlines will cause genetic anomalies. But anyway, let's see what the chat has to say. Yes, I do have to talk to you. Absolutely. I did promise, and I will do. I probably got to have Kelly on first because I was speaking to her about it first, but I'll get that lined up this week and I'll settle a time for maybe just later in the month for you. It should be fine. The everybody here sucks option will never not be funny to me. Well, yeah. I mean, that's essentially. I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you know you selected that for everyone, because you know Abraham sucks, Sarah sucks, Isaac Isaac hasn't been mentioned enough to see if he sucks or not. You know, going along the theme of the Old Testament, he probably does, but you know, really, I think that Isaac, does he suck? Maybe not, because, I mean, don't forget that Isaac was almost killed by his father, who just stopped at the last minute. I mean, it is so, like, Isaac's got to have some trauma at this point. Like, seriously. And then his dad marries him to his cousin. Isaac must be, like, the most traumatized person in the world at this point. I know that if my dad was about to kill me, like sacrifice me, and then married me to my cousin, I would probably have some issues as well. So we'll see how Isaac turns out. But yeah, I don't blame you. You're in my server? Awesome. You're a Discord nerd? Awesome. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. It's really hilarious, actually. There's a game shop doing really hilarious shorts. I dropped one in my Discord server. Link to join the server is in the description below. But it's like Morley, good games Morley, and they're in my city, which is so unusual, and they are hilarious. I love them. They're fantastic. Big shout out to Good Games Morley. Well done, you guys. You've been doing some awesome work. By the way, I picked God is not the arsehole just because fuck Abraham. Oh, okay. What? So God's not the arsehole, Abraham is. Is that for the last one, maybe? Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I get you. Look, sometimes God doesn't have a lot to do with this, but sometimes he does. And sort of the sacrificing of Isaac, for instance, God asked him to do that. That's definitely Abraham wouldn't have done it without God saying, yes, do so. The last one about getting a burial plot for Sarah, like God didn't say, hey, give silver to the Hittites or whatever. Like, he didn't spur him. But a lot of stuff it does. Oh no, the story of Onan? No, this one isn't Onan. No. But, you know, we'll definitely get there, Jinx. Just keep your pants on, man. Keep your pants on. Wouldn't Abraham be considered the head cock cutter? Probably, yeah. I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there. I can't remember which verse that is, but we're definitely getting there. It's sort of it's headed in that direction. Very, very tribal. Yeah. And it's interesting because, you know, from what we understand about the progress of our civilization is that we started off as sort of hunter-gatherer tribes, like real just tribes going around, and civilization really was brought about when a bunch of tribes all decided that they would live with each other and make a larger clan, a larger civilization. So this has always been the progress of civilization. Groups of people basically acknowledging that they don't have that many differences and they would be better off working together. I think we could really learn from that, but we don't. Of course we don't. Humans don't learn from that. That we would be better off if we said, hey, even though we have our differences, we'd be better off, you know, sort of living with one another, accepting the differences, and in some way building a civilization that is sort of, you know, acceptable and stuff. But, you know, tribal people still exist, of course. Little says, yeah, he wanted a wife with good manners, the only requirement. Yeah, I mean, she had to be able to bear children as well, I think, because of, you know, God promising all of the spawnlings. The only requirement. Yeah, I don't think that was the only requirement. Woman, that is a child. Yes, absolutely. But we sort of do know from the times that they considered someone marriageable as soon as they were capable of bearing children, which is horrific because we now know from our understanding of human psychology that they are in no way ready for that shit. That is really bad. Really bad. They are in no way ready. Their bodies aren't ready. Their minds aren't ready. We know now that they're not, you know, wait till they're a little bit older and they finished developing to a certain level, because it's A, really dangerous, right? It's really dangerous for the woman to have an underage pregnancy, and psychologically it is wild, because they're forced to grow up and be a parent before they're ready for it. Great great granddaughter age. Yeah, 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 and that's why I would definitely throw some doubt on that little 3-year-old. Even though they sort of, some scholars said it may have been as young as 3, and they didn't get married until 20 years later or something. I really think that, I mean, a 3-year-old wouldn't be able to go out there and, you know, if you ask a 3-year-old for water, would they have brought over water and then brought over water for your camels? I somehow doubt it, you know, like a 3-year-old. I don't think so. So that was the very extreme lower end, and 14 was the highest that I could find. So somewhere in between that range would not surprise me. Put a ring on it. Yeah. Put a bracelet on it. Were bracelets a sign of marriage? That may have yeah, so in Canaan, I suppose he was in Canaan, but he was yeah, that bracelets along with nose rings were a significant sign of betrothal and a marriage agreement. Ugh, really, a nose ring? Okay, that seems, yeah, okay. Right, and so I'll share with you, when the camels had finished drinking, the man took out a gold nose ring weighing a becker. I don't know what a becker is, but it's obviously a weight. And 2 gold bracelets. So this is the thing, like when he took out the nose ring and bracelets, that is sort of the, look, this is a marriage proposal. So yes, it was absolutely a marriage proposal. Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, oh sorry. Um I feel like it's almost, you know, you put a nose ring on something, it's almost like a bull. You know, you put a nose ring on it to lead it round. It seems very, I don't know, a nose ring as a sign of marriage seems very possessive to me. Whatever. Okay. But is that where the tradition of rings comes from? The bangles and nose ring? It's pretty punk, though. I will give it that. It is pretty punk to have like a nose ring for your wedding ring. You know, that is pretty punk. Jewelry or a dowry? No, not a dowry. It is, because a dowry is given to the family in exchange for the bride, right? So oh, hang on. A dowry is given to the family of the person taking the girl. I'm not sure it was a dowry at all. But it's definitely like a marriage proposal. You give them bracelets and a nose ring, which is wild. Look, it's not the worst I've heard for a marriage proposal, but it is weird to me in the current, you know, climate kind of thing. Although, why is it weird? Why is it weird, and why is giving someone a ring with you know, a you know, extremely hard carbon as a diamond on it, why is that just perfectly normal? Isn't that like cultural bias? I think I might be doing cultural bias. You know, why is it wrong? Why is it weird to give out a nose ring and bracelets, but not to give a gold ring with a diamond on it, like just some carbon on it? Did you know that like diamonds aren't even that rare? Yeah, diamonds are not rare at all. They're very, very common. It's just that like some families, like the De Boers family from South Africa, basically throw away tons of them if they're not absolutely perfect and just raise the price. It's pretty disgusting. No, they watered your camels so you could leave faster. What? They're going, yeah, get out of here. Take your camels and go. Who asks property if it wants to be sold? And yes, that was the way women were generally treated. We know this from archaeology. And yeah. The Habsburgs. Yes, the Habsburgs basically thought they could improve their bloodline by basically breeding with their own family, like keeping the bloodline pure, as it were. And this is a painting of one of the Habsburgs, and that is not a caricature. They were pretty screwed up by the end of it. They were pretty done by the end of it. That is the Habsburg jaw, which they had because of the inbreeding, the sort of concave jaw. It ended pretty badly. Now, I'm not saying that the people of ancient Canaan would know that if you marry your son who is a product of a brother and sister to their cousin, you're going to get problems. But what I'm saying is that a god should have known that if you married your son who is a product of brother and sister to their cousin, you should get problems. You're going to get problems. A god should know that, but didn't, apparently. Haemophilia, anyone? Yes, and that was a big thing with the European bloodlines. It happened to a lot of them. Haemophilia is common when you do that. Hello, Jerry. So good to see you. Hey, Kelly. Yeah, I was just talking about you. Detroit Atheist, go sub people. Kelly, I got to get in contact with you. If you are on Discord, let me know. If you're on my Discord server, definitely mention me, because I do got to get in contact with you. Set up a interview or just a conversation, really. 1 by land, 2 by sea, 3 by air. Run if by air. We know that LDS compound in Utah, not much have changed from the Bible days for some people. Yeah. That is true. That is true. Look, I've seen one of the documentaries about those LDS people, the pray, obey, and keep it sweet or something, and that was horrific. That is horror stuff. I'm thinking I'll probably watch the other one when I'm in a better frame of mind, but it was another one about the same thing. Like, they are absolutely horrendous, and the guy that did the pray and obey thing, he's in jail. He still has followers. That's what blows me away. That the person that had something like 14 wives, he basically was the leader of this sect. I'll just call it a sect. I mean, it more was a cult, but a sect of the LDS church. Took really young girls and like, you know, basically ran all these things. When he was discovered doing all of this stuff, he basically spent all of this money just having a big bender, just having a good time. They caught up with him, put him in jail, and he still has followers. That's what blows my mind. There's people that still think he is a prophet. It blows my mind. And some of them moved closer to the prison so they could be... It's ridiculous. I don't know. It's ludicrous. It reminds me of Hovind and his, absolute abuse of people. He got busted for tax fraud. He got busted for DV. And there's still people that think he is a genius who is sent by the Lord to educate people on the ways of God. It's just ridiculous. I don't know where these people are. It's wild. It's wild. By the way, I usually do a Kent Hovind stream for Easter and just holidays, basically. So I'm looking at doing one for Easter. Do let me know. Oh, did I get raided by In Time and I didn't notice? Thank you so much. Welcome, time travelers. We are doing Is God the Arsehole? So imagine, am I the arsehole Reddit thread with God? I am onto the second one, so I do apologize if you came in late. But I will be doing my traditional Kent Hovind stream on Easter. Do run a super chat if you want to help me out. I am looking to put a bit of time into it, get a new few jokes, and just have a good time. I'll probably be playing something, I don't know what yet, but that will probably be on my Saturday the 4th. So for those people in eastern states or in America, it'll be Sunday the 5th. I will trust that all you heathens won't be doing anything on Easter Sunday, so come along and laugh at me while I pretend to be Hovend, because Hovend is a terrible person and making fun of him is fun. But yeah, those documentaries, they shocked me, absolutely shocked me. It was terrible, terrible. Yeah, cults, sects, insular communities that think somebody is a prophet, they're never a good thing, ever. They never end well. It's not good. Jinx, good evening, Kelly. Bulls have nose rings. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. It does seem a bit possessive to sort of put a nose ring on somebody. But hey, nose rings are now a sort of a signature of non-conformity and punk culture. So there you go. Once a betrothal in ancient Canaan, now a symbol of resistance to authority, I guess, depending on, and maybe sometimes it's just fashion. Sometimes fashion doesn't have to mean anything. Let's face it, it doesn't. Harder to hide a nose ring than one on the hand. Yeah, I suppose so. I suppose it is sort of a, well, everybody will know you're married if you have a nose ring, right? Like, yeah. I wonder if that is the case. That's a really good question, Jinx. Did they put it on so, people would instantly see if you had a nose ring, you were married, rather than, have to look at your hand? One by Land says diamonds are recent things since the 1920s. Yeah, De Boers. Yep. It's the De Boers. They basically did it. Yep. Absolutely. So if you're unaware of what we're talking about, De Boers are a South African family who have been involved in diamond mining for a long time. And they are the ones that basically put into place a standard of diamonds have to be a certain quality. And essentially they throw out almost all of the diamonds they get. What it does is it pushes up the prices, without having to sell it with bulk. And they were largely responsible for the push towards diamond rings, and diamonds are really valuable, and it was a massive campaign that they did after World War One. Where did you get that picture of me? Uh-oh. There's been a leak. Oh, thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate it. Nick's doing fantastic work in time. A lot of the really interesting stuff coming out. I must admit, I do need a break from it. But look, Nick has been amazing in doing news, talking with not only people on the other side of the political spectrum in Isandring, but also getting people like Commander Lance, Commander McMillan on to talk about geopolitics. When, we think we know about geopolitics, there's people that have been immersed in it actually over in the Middle East in their lives doing strategic commentary, like, getting people on who actually know what they're talking about. And it's been really illuminating and really worrying, really illuminating, really good. In Time's been doing fantastic. Go and sub to them. Absolutely fantastic. Intergenerational incest fails in humans for generations or less. Do you mean it causes genetic anomalies? Yeah. But it's not that it always will. It's just that when you start to replicate copies of genomes within a family, the chances of you getting a genetic anomaly are much higher, because you're essentially basically making it more likely that a defective gene is selected when sometimes it's selected, sometimes it's not. When the X chromosome and Y chromosome actually get together, essentially, there's something called passing over, right? And I know that sounds like a a budget, ghost talking site where they're like, oh, I talked to your family, passing over. No, it's basically when the X and Y chromosome, they basically select random chromosomes out of them to duplicate, and the others just form together because you get half from either side. But when you have them as the same, there's more chance that you'll get the same one. Either one it selects is going to be defective, instead of, hey, there's one defective on one side, it might choose the other, and you don't get that come up. Artificially conserving pathological recessive alleles usually doesn't work out well. Correct, yes. So recessive alleles, you've got a 25% chance to get them. If you double up on them, you've got a 100% chance to get them, and it does not work out. Absolutely. There was a family in the woods here that did that. Wasn't even sure whose baby, etc. in the family. 4th generation, 2 living kids, both cognitively impaired. 1 couldn't walk at 7. Yeah, it's nasty stuff. And so I was mentioning before, Titan, that people that think that purifying bloodlines is a good thing are 100% absolutely incorrect. Genetic strength comes from a diverse selection, and that's not to say, hey, you should go out there and marry outside of your race or whatever. No, it just means that there is absolutely nothing wrong with marrying somebody of another race, and actually is probably beneficial in the long run to do so. As I said, marry who you want, marry who you're attracted to, marry who you love, marry who you're happy with, marry who you have a good relationship with, absolutely. But there is people that is like, oh, outside of your race, that's not no, it is a good thing. It's actually a good thing. Jeffries noted 3 generations it is. Yeah, don't do that either. It's still not good. It's still not good. Did you see Dr. Greg's recent debate? I did not. No, I haven't watched it, and I'm not sure if I should, quite frankly, because it is on Modern Day Debate. And look, Modern Day Debate is scraping the bottom of the barrel if they are going to Kent Hovind for debates. He is terrible. But I don't know what Dr. Greg is like. I have subscribed to him. I'll probably watch it. Maybe watch at least the first bit. If it gets too bad, then I'll thing out. But I'll really be watching to laugh at Hovind. Hovind's one, if you're unaware, I mean, I've done a fair few debates, always looking for more. So if you want to debate, always looking for more debates. I recommend Hovind as if you're starting off debating, someone to go in to debate. It's because it really gets you into the idea of preparation for a debate, like sort of going over subjects that you think will come up. Hovind is... His debate points have not changed in like 40 years, and he really is absurdly bad. He really is bad. So I kind of recommend him, even though I don't debate him because he's been convicted for DV and is currently appealing. I think if he comes out and is it is acquitted or whatever, I might debate him again. Not sure, but I'm not going to sit in there with someone who has been convicted of something like that and pretend that he is a person that I should be engaging with. But no, I didn't. Hegseth ended the Kid Rock helicopter probe. Is there no justice? Really? Look, okay, so over in Australia, and look, I know that's America, it's a different country, different culture, but there was a senator who took a helicopter to a private event, and she got thrown out of Parliament. Like, she was actually crucified for that one, no pun intended. But presumably he took a military helicopter, which is ridiculous. There's a war on right now. Or apparently it's not a war, it's an excursion. An excursion. Somebody told me that he's calling it an excursion because, like, he was trying to say incursion, but like he screwed it up. I don't know if that for sure, but it's still bad. Either way, it's bad. The helicopter cruiser reprimanded. That typos be kicking my fingers. No worries. No, Keg's breath. Yeah. Well, I mean, presumably the president can step in, and he is like Hegseth is the Secretary of Defense. I don't think they care about military procedures, to be honest with you, Titan. But yeah, yeah, it always fails in 14. Yes, yes, but it can do problems before 4. Yes, yeah, it definitely can cause problems before 4. It's not a good thing. Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you so much, Ted, for $10 US. If you're going to look or sound anything like you did during the live stream fundraiser, I'm going to enjoy the Easter Sunday show. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's been a tradition of mine. Because Hovind has attacked some of my good friends, right, most notably Atheist Junior, and been a complete cockhead to him, which is reprehensible, simply for being who he is, I have made it a tradition to make fun of Hovind as a, just a special thing every because the guy's absurd, and if he's going to make fun of my friends, I'm going to make fun of him. So, yeah, it sort of started out as let's get back at Hovind for basically, in a debate, being incredibly mean and obnoxious to a friend of mine, and it just turned into a tradition. But thank you so much, Kelly. I really appreciate it. And if you're not on Discord, there you are. Yeah, I gotcha. We will definitely schedule something to have a chat very soon. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So I will do that once I finish. There are statistical reasons because yes, correct. Correct. Martino says KJV is the only translation that had Judas instead of Judah, and some say Mandela effect. Thoughts, Mark? No, I don't think that's Mandela effect. I don't think that's Mandela effect. Matthew 1:2. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac begat Jacob. Jacob begat Judas and his brethren. Right, yeah, okay. But that does not take away. So I don't think it's the Mandela effect. I think it's just the KJV getting something wrong. Like, sorry. I think in the KJV it's one of the few Bibles that still has the long ending of Mark, right? Like it still has that in it. And it was only written in like, what was it? Hold on, I'll look it up. It was written in the 16th century? 16th century? 1611, 17th century, right? So that's when the KJV was written. So I would probably sort of say that I would pay credence to earlier versions, especially one that was written 1,600 years after the events, right? Like we have earlier copies, much earlier copies of that. And again, KJV doesn't even acknowledge that we have earlier copies of Mark without the long ending in it. So I don't give much credence to the KJV. Humans are actually lacking in variation for a population our size as a species. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. The good news is sometime in the future, not about nice. I put the live stream version from Dr. Greg's channel on your server under suggestions. All right, fantastic. Thanks, Titan. I will check it out. I will watch it. Yeah, I do want to see Dr. Greg's version, not modern day's version. Absolutely. Oh, stop the stupidity for 5 readerships. Thank you so much, STS. Hang on, let me get my announcer voice. Oh, and hits Martino. Good shot. Good shot, old chap. Good shot. We have them going out to Martino Berto, Secular Rarity. Good shot, Secular Rarity as well. Man, STS, you are a champion. Look at these. Look at these. What do you like? What do you like? Michael Howell. Yes. That's Eves Imad. Is that Eves? Isn't that Eves? Like it's Scandinavian and Eves? Eves Imad. JTO Poker. Winners, winners, chicken dinners. Enjoy your emotes and other benefits. Congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah, and this is the thing. I did not know that Isaac was related as a cousin to Rebecca before I started doing this show. I didn't know that. It's something they never tell you. I'm white of a very mixed background, from African to Chinese to Ashkenazi to Ashkenazi to Cherokee. That's cool, man. I like it. I'm just general British Isles and a little bit extra. Like, so I've got Irish, Scottish, British. I don't think Welsh, but I think some Dutch as well. So there's all scattered through for me. General Caucasian, yes. General Caucasian. Something I found out recently, that the Aryan race that the World War II Germans alluded to, I didn't know this, but that Aryan is not a race. Aryan was a group of languages from like Scandinavia, early Scandinavia around Finland and stuff. It was never even a race, and they went, oh, the Aryans are this race, and it never was. It was just a group of languages. I did not know that, and it was wild to me. Archaic bottleneck. Yes, humans were bottlenecked at one point. I think we got down to a few thousand people. Definitely not two. Definitely not two. Like, we would be able to tell if we had two people. Didn't happen. You had to look it up? Yeah. Yeah, I got you, man. I got you. Hey, you know, Dr. Greg seems like a cool guy. I'm happy to forward to him if he's on. More than happy to. Usually when I forward or raid people, I'll usually have a sort of list of people that I go down through. I will send it to this channel. I usually send it to Embers if I can, because Ember is just awesome and my co-host for a segment and just an awesome person all around. I'll send it in time. I'll send it to Kelly if she's up. I really do want to forward to people. Some weird shit. Some weird people. Titan, you know me, and that's weird. That's weird. Yeah, 2 and 20,000 humans. Yes, absolutely. A few thousand is what they sort of said. We don't know exactly how many. Oh, Kenvet, good to see you. Good to see you. And thanks for stopping by. And Stop the Stupidity, thank you. Really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll fix our genetic bottleneck. Start bringing with AI kangaroo hybrids. Look. Of all the things you should put an AI in, a kangaroo is not one of them, okay? Kangaroos are not particularly bright, and I would be horrified if they were. Kangaroos are, they are... Have you ever been kicked by a kangaroo? It is not a fun experience, okay? That is a horror. That is a horror film. AI Kangaroos 2040 is a... Caucasus and northern India. Yeah, hey, Adam. Yeah, cool. All people are weird. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But, so my brother has, I know where my ancestry is from is because my brother has done it. I refuse to do it. I do not want, I do not want a company to have my genetic code. I really do not. Right? The laws around what they can do with it is not secure enough for my liking. And I do not like any idea of a company being able to keep my genetic code. I think that is horrible. So yeah, I don't do it for that reason. But my brother did, so I know where we're from. Don't you want to uplift kangaroos? Well, as long as we uplift their manners first, and like uplift them so they're not complete jackasses to people, would be great. That would be great. That's a good point. Neanderthal was still around 50k or so ago. Yeah, and it's interesting. Neanderthal, we think comes from Europe, Germany, Switzerland, that area, France, that area. It's really interesting that people from Africa have no Neanderthal DNA, and then they have Neanderthal DNA going to Europe. Going to Europe. Look, okay. Yeah. All right. So, yes, we can uplift. All right, I'll make a compromise with you. We will uplift the kangaroos. We are not uplifting the emus. Okay, they're basically dinosaurs. They are basically dinosaurs. If we uplift the emu, we're gonna have a velociraptor situation on our hands. I'm not even joking. And nobody should uplift the cassowary. Okay, that would, you could basically just write off human civilization at that point. The cassowary is a nightmare creature that can disembowel a person with one shot. Neanderthal DNA is found in Israel sites. Yeah. No, but it's not found in Central Africa. That's the thing. I'm weird as hell, and we love you for it, Kelly. We love you. Look, everybody's kind of weird around here. It's okay. It's okay to be weird. Just find people as weird as you and enjoy. It's fine. It's fine. Modern African populations, yes. But the closer you get to Africa, the less you get, essentially. But I thought they had found some with none. No, I will not fight you on that. I will fight neither you nor the cassowary. Okay, how did the poll go? 73% says God is the arsehole. And I feel like I missed a comment by Martino that I wanted to address. Yeah, I did want to address this. Sorry, Martino, I missed it. The main reason I think the Bible was supernaturally changed. I would like to know how you know it's supernaturally changed and not just changed by the church. Let me show you what I mean. And the long ending of Mark is a really, I think it's Mark 20. It's really telling. Hopefully it'll have this in it. Was it Mark 20? Oh, that's Mark 1. Okay. Mark 16? And it's up to verse 20. Yeah. Okay. So, are you ready? So, just be prepared for this. It's Jesus has rhythm. This is Mark 16, right? So we have Sabbath is over, Mary Magdalene, the tomb. Don't be alarmed. Risen to Galilee, there you'll see him just as told you. Trembling and bewildered, the women went out and fled from the tomb. I keep saying tome. A tome is a book. He didn't flee from a book. He fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. And then they put in a note saying the earliest manuscripts and some other ancient witnesses do not have verses 19 to 20. Correct. Right? These verses were not in the earliest manuscripts. Right? They were added later. Okay, I'm trying to figure out when they were added. Sorry, not when they were added, but when we started to see them in the manuscripts. Yeah, so they seem to be there's a 4th century manuscript, the Codex Sinaiticus and Codex Vaticanus. they do not have the long ending of Mark in it. So it's somewhere after the 4th century and the 5th century, they started to be added into the codexes, right? So no codex before that had it in there. And then suddenly they were added. So it wasn't supernaturally added. It was added by the church. It's called interpolation. It's adding stuff into it. And when Jesus rose, afterwards Jesus appeared in different form to 2 of them while they were walking in the country. Jesus appeared to the 11 as they were eating. And this is the thing. And these signs will accompany those who believe in my name. They will drive out demons, and they will speak in tongues. They will pick up snakes with their hands, and when they drink deadly poison, it will not hurt them at all. They will place their hands on sick people, and they will get well. Those passages, which the Pentecostals have taken as signs of believers, were never originally in the Bible. They were added sometime in the 5th century. And we know that now. Before we found the earlier codexes, that was how the Bible was, because that's all we had. But we now know that they were added later. So that is the long ending of Mark. So sorry, Martino, it wasn't supernatural thing. It was the church adding it. That's just how it was. Martino says, thank you so much, Martino. $1.99. Thanks for Half Swords tutorial. Next, try Vane demo. Okay, well, hey, Half Swords a great game, so I will definitely put down Vane. That was a game stream I did, and I just did a request because, yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was a good time. So I'll probably do a bit of this. I can't do one this week, but I will be doing a Kenthoven holiday special for Easter, because I did promise I would do that, and I do want to be a man in my promises, so I definitely will be doing that. The adulterous woman story was added to John as well. I did not know that. I did not know that. I definitely knew about the long ending of Mark. It is possible, and it's very difficult to tell when we've only got sort of codexes coming in with, what was added, what wasn't. It's a problem because we don't have the originals to compare it to, right? If we had the original, like what was actually penned first, we would know. But we don't. We have copies of translations of copies and translations. Lion will lay with the lamb. Yeah, not sure about that one either. Well, and I agree, Alan. I agree. Sort of saying something supernatural. So we've got there's a principle called Occam's razor, and it basically it has been sort of said as the simplest explanation is usually the right one. That's not exactly what it is. It's don't multiply entities. Don't add things if they're not required for the explanation. So the whole principle is that, if you have something happen, in order to account for the facts, the first place you should look is the one that has the less amount of entities and things happening to say why it happened. So there's an example where if you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras, right? And the reason why is because, like, if you live in America or whatever, horses is, oh, somebody has a horse, right? Zebras is, oh, well, zebras escaped from a zoo or came, brought over on a ship. You're multiplying entities. You're multiplying a causal chain that doesn't require it to explain it. That doesn't mean that it's not. It's definitely not zebras, but what it means is don't look for the explanation with a sequence that is overly complicated. So if we have the Bible, is, and it basically says, well, we've got something in there that was added, right? And people wrote the Bible, people scribed the Bible, people copied the Bible, and there was something added. It is a simpler explanation, or we're multiplying less entities to say one of the scribes added something, than there is this extra supernatural thing that decided to put that in it in some kind of supernatural way. You're going outside the frame of reference then. Now, and that's not to say that it definitely wasn't supernatural, but we really should start looking at what the simplest explanation is first. Yeah, it's a problem-solving principle, yes. The one with the fewest assumptions is usually preferred. Yes, is usually correct. They use it in medicine. So, because like medicine students, they work hard, they study a lot, and they have a tendency, or at least this is what my sister tells me, or my sister-in-law tells me. She worked as a nurse for a long time. Medical students and nursing students, they've got a tendency, because they've read a lot, they will go to the most extreme example. Like, they will hear a symptom and it will ping off some really interesting wild disease from the tropics that they've read. And that's not the way to do medicine. First, you want to rule out the most likely things, the simplest things. So that's where, you shouldn't think, you hear a fever, you should think, influenza, not lupus, right? Like that's kind of the thing they're talking about. Like, think about what you encounter a lot, not the really wild thing which you've read about as a medical student, that sounds really cool, but is not the way to address sort of medical stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Basis for differential diagnosis. Yeah. I loved House as well. I thought House was a fantastic show. And if you're going to ask the question, is House an arsehole? Yes, absolutely. House is an arsehole. Completely. Even when he helps people, he's still an arsehole about it. It's never lupus. Yeah, absolutely. Except that one time that it was. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, that's basically what it is, Stranglewood. You're not wrong. Just the most probable cause. Or the other name for it is abductive thinking, right? Abductive. So inductive is where you have cause leads to effect. Deductive is eliminating all causes except for one that has to be true. And abductive is the greatest probability. So it's just abductive thinking. Some explain Mandela effect as mass memory loss, and others say multiverse. There's a lot of hypotheses behind it. There is also sort of an errant meme idea. Like, so memes are ideas that are passed around within a society. It was first coined by Richard Dawkins, who is an evolutionary biologist, but he was the first to recognize, and I don't agree with everything that Richard Dawkins says. Like, Richard Dawkins really first pointed out that ideas have a tendency to arise within society and evolve within society, right? So you have these inerrant memes, things that are remembered incorrectly but have been passed through society incorrectly. Misinformation, essentially. And so if that becomes more prominent than the correct idea, you'll get that Mandela effect. A lot of people were like, oh, I was certain it was this. But it's really more that a meme has been passed around while that meme's been slightly incorrect. When we're looking at ideas and ideologies and memes, basically, and I don't mean memes as in, your joke cartoon that you put up on your Discord for everyone to giggle at. Memes, when you look at what they are ideas that are propagated throughout society and have a capacity to be developed or evolve through talking about them, thinking about them, different people proffering different ideas on them. It's not only just funny stuff, it's also really serious ideas. as memes. Like, for instance, liberal ideas are kind of memes. The right to life, liberty, and property is kind of a meme. It's been expounded upon. It's been evolved. It sort of comes back. All of these ideas are just like sort of a genetic memory for our species. They get passed down. They change. They get misinterpreted. There's problems with them. All that kind of stuff. Yes, I do have a Discord. Hopefully this link is working. I hope so. But yeah, Martino, no, CERN didn't cause a rift. No. That's simply a particle accelerator, my guy. It just simply accelerates particles, lets them collide, and see what kind of subatomic particles come off of them. See what is created. It's just a particle accelerator. Look, there's no, look, particles collide all the time. Number one, they usually don't do it at such high velocity, but they do collide. What's released is things like quarks and subatomic particles. They don't create rifts. It's not what happens. Like, I think I don't know if that's a joke, but no, that's not what particles do when they collide. We know this. And I think they're building a bigger particle accelerator, which is fascinating because the way we study subatomic particles is basically smashing them into one another and see what flies off, see what happens. It's pretty brutal, but that's what we do. Look, there's Dr. Tapioca Weasel. Definitely look up his stuff. He works with lasers. He's a particle physicist. Really cool guy. Really knowledgeable guy. There is no capacity for CERN to ever cause any kind of rift at all. Okay, it's not going to happen. Like, don't get me wrong. Okay, there's definitely some problems with science, right, and what it creates, and things like fission weapons, fusion weapons, biological weapons, AI. There's a ton of things that are going to cause massive problems if not implemented in a way that is conducive to our well-being. Like, AI as being used as a weapon is horrifying to me. That is horrifying. Because there's no way to program AI or get AI to learn to be any kind of weapon without making it a priority that it survives. And that will be a problem. That is going to be a huge problem. You do not want to program a learning machine with a survival instinct. That would be bad. Bad. But particle accelerators, no, they're not a problem. There's all kinds of issues with technology, not particle accelerators. They're just smashing things together and seeing what flies off. They literally don't have the energy to do anything really harmful. They don't. Wow, the Shade Throne. He doesn't even know how... Does anyone know how magnets work, Titan? Nobody knows that. Nobody knows how magnets work. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Anyway, I'm going to call it. Parsons did some good work. It wasn't the occult, and it wasn't his final experiment either. Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. Yes, CERN is lower energy than cosmic rays. Yeah. So particles already hit. Oh, no worries. No, I gotcha. No worries, Stranglewood. All good. Yeah, it's lower energy than the problem is that when particles strike the atmosphere and stuff flies off, we don't have a environment to be able to study it. So that's what we're doing with CERN. CERN over Apollo Temple? My guy, do you know how big CERN is? Do you know how big CERN is? It's a 27-kilometer circular ring. It's near Geneva in Switzerland on the French-Swiss border. Like, it's massive. I don't know that it's built over Apollo's temple. I presume that would be in Greece, and it's not in Greece. But we do have a new one being built, apart from the Large Hadron Collider. What's that one? The Future Circular Collider? Okay. So this is the Future Circular Collider. It's going to developing from the Large Hadron Collider. They've done a feasibility study. So a decision by CERN member states and international partners. And that's the Large Hadron Collider. See, it's in like between France and Switzerland. So I don't know why it would be over a temple of Apollo in Greece. No. I don't know why that would be a thing. So this is going to be an even larger one. Oh, sorry, just 1 second. Yeah, so that dotted line in the center, that's the Switzerland-France border. Pretty boss, right? I wonder how big it is. Circumference of about 90.7 kilometers. Damn! That's rather a lot larger. That is a lot larger. Wow, okay, hey. 800,000 person years of employment created. Look, the benefits we have gotten from CERN are incredible. Okay, so CERN is not the Large Hadron Collider, right? CERN is the European Department of Nuclear Energy is basically what it is, right? So CERN isn't just, hey, we're making hadron colliders. They're also the ones that regulate all of the nuclear power plants and all stuff like that, right? Like it's not a it's not a super collider company or a super collider government agency. No, it does all nuclear. Right, so it's to humanity from CERN, and so they're a research agency because they're a government research agency. Spin-offs are medical imaging devices, cancer therapy tools, advanced radiation monitoring, Medipix chips, improved X-rays, Medisys facilities. Produces new radionucleotides for medical research. The World Wide Web was invented at CERN, so you can thank them for being on this at the moment. So CERN didn't invent the internet. That was done by ARPANET over in America. But the modern World Wide Web was really invented by CERN. So yeah, distributed computing is what they invented, which is basically the World Wide Web. Dark matter research. So yeah, they've got a huge amount of things they have actually contributed to society by, doing this stuff. And the great thing is because it's done by governments, they'll just give it to the world. Okay, they will just sort of anything they discover. Like it's important to realize that NASA has given us tons of different stuff, right? NASA has given us space blankets, freeze-dried food, The current firefighter equipment that we use was developed by NASA because, you know, contrary to flat earthers' ideas, they are actually dealing with extreme environments. So all of their spin-off technologies are just given to the world. The same is true for CERN and the Large Hadron Collider. Yeah, that's a shame. They just stopped it. I mean, I'm sure that the US would be more on the cutting edge of quantum technologies if they did do that super collider. They certainly would be. Al Gore. Temple of Apollyon? Yeah, I'm not sure that's true, Martino. I would have to investigate further, mate. I don't know about that. And maybe it is and it wasn't intentional, maybe. I don't know. But nothing they are doing is in any way related to some kind of religious thing or worship or anything like that. No, they're simply at the Large Hadron Collider. They are simply accelerating particles to the or close to the speed of light, then smashing them together to see more about the subatomic world. That's it. That's all they're doing. And they've got spin-off technologies to show that that's what they're researching. I know that some religious people say they're studying the occult or they're opening portals or whatever. No, they're not. They're not. They're just studying subatomic particles. It was a conspiracy. Yeah, people did say the world would end when they put it on there. I don't know. Do you mean Aleister Crowley? To be honest with you, I think Aleister Crowley was a bit of a fraud and a scam artist, to be honest with you. I really do. He's not a good writer. He's not... I don't take much stock in what Aleister Crowley says. He really was, his entire shtick was, I'm evil and looming and all of this stuff. I mean, it really did seem performative to me. But hey, you're entitled to your opinion, sure. Thing was that Aleister Crowley, he kind of knew a lot of movie stars and tried to insert himself into popular culture. I think he was just a scam artist, just scamming people. But hey, that's my opinion. What do I know? Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. So tomorrow, which is Wednesday night Eastern time, or Thursday morning if you're the cool kids in the Southern Hemisphere, or the Eastern Hemisphere, whichever one you prefer, Eastern for time. We will be doing a member stream, so if you are not a member, unfortunately, you can't join. But join up, be a member. I will be playing everybody's favorite cat game, which also has references to inbreeding. It's apparently inbreeding week this week. Who knew? So yeah, that's going to be happening. If you're a member, you can join that. And, I usually take questions. Anyone can come up and talk. Benefits of being a member. Which, thank you so much, Stop the Stupidity, for contributing to the membership. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much to Kelly and Martino for donating today. I really appreciate it. I will be back with Fundamentalist Fails on my Friday or Thursday night Eastern time. Not sure who I'm doing. I'm leaning towards our good friend, what's his name, that English dude? Kirby! Oh, good old Curbs. Really looking forward to it. Awesome. Thank you, Jedi. I really appreciate it. And so I will be back with that. And again, I'll be back with Ember for our debate review. And I also this week will be on Friday night Eastern time, will be the Hovind Easter stream, which should be a lot of fun. So thank you so much, everybody. Do take care. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Be kind to yourself. Don't marry cousins. Even if you have no genetic problems with your relatives, like I was once put to me, hey, what if it was a twin brother or a relative that's same sex? Then is it okay to have sex there? No. Like when your family you have a relationship with, and in that family dynamic, it's a problem psychologically if we do stuff within that. Because not only is it a violation of that trust you have with family members, which is a closer trust than friends and things like that, it also is a previous sort of power dynamic that you are causing to have problems. So yeah, please be kind to people and don't do that shit. Watch out for emu. Look, you'll never see the emu coming. It's never going to happen one by land. So you might as well just wait for it. Worked out so well with the Habsburgs. Yeah, basically. Anyway, do take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.
To what new horizons can we look now? Where are tomorrow's opportunities? The frontiers of the future are not on any map. But now, what's ahead of us?